I like the traps in Diablo 4 in the vaults. Before you hit the dislike button, let's just talk quickly, right? I actually like season 3 more than season 2 as far as content goes, right? I think the quest line was better. I think the boss fight Malphus is much better than Zur. I actually really like the fight. I hope it's tuned well for higher level content. I really like doing vaults much more than Blood Harvest. I didn't really care for Blood Harvest that much. And well, yeah, Seneschal is a drastic, sad thing that's happening right now. I think the Seneschal can be buffed and fixed pretty easily with a massive tune of numbers. I think a lot of the issue of the season is math, seemingly. Like, I don't know how they keep doing the math part wrong, but the amount of times they expect you to run the vault and the strength of the Seneschal, clearly a problem. When I was doing the Nightmare Sigil vaults, I actually had a good time collecting the buffs of Warden, taking my time through the dungeon, not getting hit by traps. I felt like the items were rewarding. I really had a good time of it. But when I learned that you want the pros for the Uber boss, so the efficient way of doing it is to not use your pros and just avoid the traps and just run through the content as fast as possible, and this would take something like 1,000 runs. That's the problem. That's where the bad issue is. And again, that's a tuning issue. I think they can fix, right? I think if Purrs or Warden were something you farmed exclusively for the buff to get through the trap rooms, and if you got through the trap rooms efficiently and did it well and open up the boss chest, and it's like if you open up the Warden chest and inside the Warden chest you got boss mats and you use those boss mats to summon the Uber version of the dungeon to fight Malphus, and Malphus was a harder, more challenging content that guaranteed dropped the unique power for the Seneschal and a ton of mats for the Seneschal, the reward structure would feel a lot better. I don't mind being slowed down if the rewards feel good. I don't. I think if the vaults were a little more XP dense and a little more heavy on Paragon XP, it would be a better experience. I think they give great items as is. Unfortunately, items are not the end game loop. I just think they're a better experience. In Blood Harvest, I remember having fun doing it to 1 to 50, and then at the beginning of World 2 3 and beginning of World 2 4, and that was it. I really liked doing my other sides. I became Potent Bloods, and that was it. I'm already enjoying the vault content more, but the vault content wasn't very impactful from 1 to 50, which I think is the biggest thing they had to learn from this season so far, is that the season mechanic has to be impactful from 1 to 50 off the bat, both the power and the content itself that you're doing. They failed both those things. The content gets better when you leave Word Tier 2, and Seneschal is just a mess all around. Let's be honest, it just needs buffed. But I think once tuning is done, I think Seneschal can compare a bit to the vampire powers. It won't be as good as vampire powers, but it can compare to it. And the act of actually doing vaults is more enjoyable and fun to me. And the reward structure was better, right? If I spend 15, 20 minutes doing a vault or whatever, 10 minutes, whatever number you want to, I didn't time them. Let's say 10 minutes. If I spend 10 minutes doing a vault and I can do 4 Nightmare dungeons in that time frame or 2 Nightmare dungeons or whatever, the amount of XP and Paragon XP and items I get from doing the 4 nightmares compared to the 1 vault should be very comparable 1 to 1. I should be even more rewarded for the vault because I'm taking my time going through that content. And that's just a numbers game in my opinion. That's a simple math. I prefer content honestly when it's a little more slower engaging. Not when I gotta farm it though, but when I do it, right? I prefer it, but at some point I will get bored of farming it. It just will happen, right? So I think it's important. The vaults are something we do 30, 40, 50 times to get our Sinister Companion maxed out. And then after that, you just don't have to look at them if you don't want to. You can just move on with your life. And I think Malphus is a really cool chance to have a really cool, unique boss fight, a unique dungeon that has a guaranteed power drop for Seneschal. And you just do that once or twice to get both stones. And you just feel good about that. And then you move on to playing leaderboards whenever they show up. Or you move on and you just farm Nightmare dungeons or whatever you enjoy doing, right? I think all in all, I think the seasonal content is better from the quest line perspective. I like the boss better. I mean, those are preference things. I understand that, but I really do actually prefer the content. It's the same. And this is gonna be crazy, and you may have already guessed this, but in PoE labs, I actually enjoy doing the first couple times of each character because I think it's a fun like little benchmark to go through and see how my character progresses and get the ascendancy, get those guaranteed points, and get the boom. I just don't want to farm it. I didn't want to do it a million times with helmet chance. The helmet chance aspect is the part I thought was pretty bonked. I thought that was the bad part of it. The actual running through doing it once. I actually really enjoyed having those benchmarks, try to get it done as early as possible, get those ascendancies. Now, the better I've gotten at PoE, the easier it's gotten, of course. But when I was more of a casual PoE player in the first couple hundred hours of playing the game, I actually really enjoyed doing it and wanted more content like that. I really enjoy an RPG loop cycle that involves minus farming for currency, minus farming for items, so I can go and do static, engaging, challenging things. And I did like the trap gameplay. And that's how I see this could play out. I really don't mind doing the vaults a bit. I think they're fun and engaging. I'm sure eventually I'll get bored of them as I do of all content, right? And Malthus could be a really cool boss fight if he just guaranteed and give you stones and he was a little easier to. I don't want to say easier to summon, but it wasn't contradicting the reward cycle that currently exists with the vaults. I think these are a lot of number issues they can tune very easily, right? Pearls of Warden come from the Tremors. We use those to get buffs to do the vaults. We do the vaults carefully about getting hit traps. The more we do it, the more efficient we do it, the better efficient we do it, the more items, XP, glyph XP, and rewards we get at the end. We use those words at the end to summon the boss eventually. Summon that boss is a challenging Uber Mega Dungeon version of a vault with a cool boss fight where once you kill him, he guaranteed drops one of the 2 unique stones. It's a cool progression loop system to upgrade essential per character, and then you can be done with it. And I think it'd be a fun, engaging content. Keep it a Blood Harvest where it was 1 to 50. I did it a bit when it was up for the first every hour. I did it at the beginning of World Tier 3, beginning of World Tier 4, and I never thought about it again. Even my second, third character, I just didn't think about because I had Potent Blood spared for my first character. I didn't really enjoy it. It's actually the one seasonal journey I did not finish last season. It's the thing preventing me from getting the title was the fact I did not get rank 18 on the bounty board. I just couldn't be asked to do that. It was just I didn't really enjoy it, and the in-game loop was drastically lower. I think the only thing season 2 has on season 3 right now is the power. And that is a number game they can fix. I believe personally can fix that. And this doesn't include the boss ladder or base game changes in season 2. I don't think those are seasonal changes. I don't think they count seasonal content. That's base game stuff. They exist now as they are. I am not even sure if the seasonal team really worked on that stuff. I don't know if I feel like they have 4 teams, right? So I feel like the live service team, or maybe the expansion team, or maybe both season teams helped work on that stuff. I don't know what the deal is with that. I'm not going to even talk about those changes. I don't think base game changes season by season can be talked about from a season or team perspective. But I really think that the biggest sin this content has done so far, why it's pointing such a big bad taste in most people's mouths, is the numbers are just a massive mistake. But though the big sin is the 1 to 50 experience doesn't exist. It's so much, the 1 to 50 experience was so much better on Blood Harvest and so much worse in this experience. But once you're past 50, once you're doing the end game content, I really enjoy this more, the potential of this more than Blood Harvest. I think they just have to learn this very important lesson that 1 to 50 needs to be important. Early game needs to be worked on. But I don't know. Let me know how you feel about it in the comments. Maybe I'm the strange one. Maybe that's not even true. Maybe all things considered, none of this makes sense to you, and it's just all wrong.